Welcome to Dark Knight Films Reviews and another special ranking video. Today, we will be counting down our picks for the top 10 worst TV show to movie adaptations. Now, for this list, we are not counting a film based on whether it failed at the box office, as some of these films on this list were quite successful on release. We are listing them based on whether they stayed true to the television show they were supposed to be adapting. So we start this list off with number 10, Chips from 2017. Chips is an American buddy cop action comedy film written and directed by Dax Shepard, based on the 1977-1983 television series of the same name created by Rick Rosner. The film stars Shepard as Officer John Baker and Michael Pena as Frank Ponch Poncherello, with Rosa Salazar, Adam Brody, and Vincent D'Onofrio in supporting roles. The film, unlike the original television series, does not take its subject matter seriously, instead opting for lowbrow humor and a disrespectful attitude toward the real-life California Highway Patrol, which thankfully did not give the film their cooperation or the license to use CHP logos. Coming in at number 9, we have Starsky and Hutch from 2004. Starsky and Hutch is an American buddy cop action comedy film directed by Todd Phillips. The film stars Ben Stiller as David Starsky and Owen Wilson as Ken Hutchinson, and is a film adaptation of the original television series of the same name, which ran from 1975 to 1979. The film switches the personalities of the title characters. While in the television show, Starsky was curious and streetwise, and Hutch was by the book. In the film, Starsky is the serious cop, and Hutch is laid back. And while the film nails the visual style and costuming of the original show, it fails to capture its gritty, serious tone, instead opting to turn it into a parody of the original show. And coming in at number 8, we have The Lone Ranger from 2013. The Lone Ranger is the American Western action film directed by Gore Verbinski and written by Justin Haythe, Ted Elliott, and Terry Rossio. Based on the title character of the same name from the popular television show that ran from 1949 to 1957. The film stars Johnny Depp as Tonto, the narrator of the events, and Armie Hammer as John Reed, the Lone Ranger. This was the first theatrical film featuring the Lone Ranger and Tonto characters since William A. Fraker's 1981 film, The Legend of the Lone Ranger. However, unlike that film, which adapted its source material faithfully, this 2013 film chooses to instead try to make the story in the style of Verbinski's previous collaboration with Depp, The Pirates of the Caribbean. Clocking in at number 7, we have Land of the Lost from 2009. Land of the Lost is an American science fiction adventure comedy film directed by Brad Silberling, written by Chris Henchy and Dennis McNicholas, and starring Will Ferrell, Danny McBride, Anna Friel, and Jorma Taccone. Loosely based on the 1974-1976 Sid and Marty Krofft television series of the same name. However, this film adaptation doesn't capture that fun kids show adventure feel, and instead chooses to rely on typical Will Ferrell humor and gags. The Krofft Productions' 1991-1992 remake of the series was much more faithful. And at number 6, we have Get Smart from 2008. Get Smart is an American spy action comedy film directed by Peter Siegel, written by Tom J. Assel and Matt Ember. The film is based on Mel Brooks and Buck Henry's television series of the same name, which ran from 1965 to 1969. This film gets the look and feel of the original series down, and Anne Hathaway is trying to do a decent Agent 99, but Steve Carell fails to capture the humor from Maxwell Smart in the series as played by Don Adams, and instead just feels like he's just doing his typical comedy. Coming in at number 5, we have Wild Wild West from 1999. Wild Wild West is an American steampunk western comedy film directed by Barry Sonnenfeld and written by S.S. Wilson and Brent Maddock alongside Jeffrey Price and Peter S. Seaman. Loosely adapted from The Wild Wild West, a 1965 to 1969 television series created by Michael Garrison. This film badly miscast Will Smith in the role of James West, a role originally played in the television series by Robert Conrad. It also attempted to do the same thing our number 8 on this list did, and instead of doing a faithful adaptation, it chooses to instead try to make the story in the style of Sonnenfeld's previous collaboration with Smith, Men in Black. And at number 4, we have The Dukes of Hazzard from 2005. The Dukes of Hazzard is an American action comedy film loosely based on the television series of the same name, which ran from 1979 to 1985. The film was directed by J. Chandrasekhar and sorely miscasts Johnny Knoxville as Luke Duke and Sean William Scott as Bo Duke, portraying them as dim-witted characters when the original characters in the show were very smart. Jessica Simpson was a very poor choice to play the highly popular Catherine Bach character of Daisy Duke. And Burt Reynolds as Boss Hogg and MC Gainey as Sheriff Roscoe P. Coltrane are portrayed as intelligent characters as opposed to their comic relief variations from the original show, very unfaithful to the original source material. Coming in at number 3, we have The Beverly Hillbillies from 1993. The Beverly Hillbillies is an American comedy film directed by Penelope Spheris, written by Lawrence Connor and Mark Rosenthal, based on the television series of the same name, which ran from 1962 to 1971. Jim Varney, Cloris Leachman, Dabney Coleman, and Lily Tomlin were great choices to play Jed, Granny, Mr. Drysdale, and Jane Hathaway and do a good job at playing their characters. But Diedrich Bader and Erica Eleniak are badly miscast as Jethro and Ellie Mae, and Bader is not portrayed as simply uneducated, as Max Baird Jr. portrayed him on the show. Instead, he is portrayed as idiotic and dumb, which is a huge discredit to that character. And coming in at number 2 is Charlie's Angels from 2000. Charlie's Angels is an American action comedy film directed by McG in his feature film directorial debut and is written by Ryan Rowe, Ed Solomon, and John August. It was based on the television series of the same name created by Ivan Goff and Ben Roberts, which ran from 1976 to 1981. Unlike the original series, which had dramatic elements, the film features more comical elements. This, much like many of the other films earlier on this list, makes this film a completely unfaithful adaptation, as, other than John Forsythe supposedly reprising his role as the unseen Charlie's voice from the original series, this is a completely uninspired action comedy with little to do with the original source material. Now, before we get to our number 1, here is an honorable or dishonorable mention, Lost in Space from 1998. Lost in Space is an American science fiction adventure film directed by Stephen Hopkins and starring William Hurt, Matt LeBlanc, Gary Oldman, and Heather Graham. The plot is adapted from the 1965 to 1968 CBS television series of the same name, itself inspired by the 1812 novel The Swiss Family Robinson by Johann David Wyss. Several actors from the TV show make cameo appearances. Unlike many on this list, this film does take its premise seriously and doesn't try to make a parody out of it, although Matt LeBlanc was badly miscast as Major Don West. This film does have one claim to fame that none of the other films on this list can say. On its opening weekend, Lost in Space debuted at the number 1 spot at the US box office, ending Titanic's 15-week-long hold on the first-place position. And finally, coming in at number 1, we have The Brady Bunch movie from 1995. The Brady Bunch movie is an American comedy film that parodies the 1969 to 1974 television series The Brady Bunch. The film was directed by Buddy Thomas, with a screenplay by Laurice Elowani, Rick Kopp, and Bonnie and Terry Turner, and stars Shelley Long, Gary Cole, and Michael McKean. The film places the original sitcom characters, with their 1970s fashion sense and sitcom family morality, in a contemporary 1990s setting. This makes this film the most disrespectful and most unfaithful of all of these other adaptations, not only because of the stupidity of its premise, but for the blatant sexualization of the story and characters. So, what did you think of our list? Do you agree with our picks? Do you disagree? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to click that bell icon to be notified about future videos just like this one. And while you're by the subscribe button, why not click that join button and become a Dark Knight fan? If you missed last week's ranking video, click the link above. And if you missed any of our previous ranking videos, click the link here to see a playlist of all our previous ranking videos. Thanks again for watching.